Fish in a Tree by Linda Mullally Hunt. Chapter 4. Bird in a Cage. When I finally get to Park Road, I head into A.C. Peterson Farms, which is a weird name for a restaurant. They have pictures of cows inside and outside, but it's on a busy street with tons of stores. I wonder if there is a restaurant somewhere in the middle of nowhere named Crowded City. My mom is waiting. "Where have you been?" "I've been worried sick," she says, wiping her hands on her apron. "I missed the bus and had to walk." She shakes her head. "Sit yourself right down there and start that homework of yours," she says, nodding toward the end of the counter. "The same place I always sit. A place where she can keep an eye on me," she says. "Anything you want to tell me?" She seems tired. "They called you, didn't they?" I ask. "Yes." "I don't know why you would do such a thing, Allie." She sounds sad instead of mad. Which is worse, I think. There is a tray of glass sundae dishes filled with brightly colored ice cream. Strawberry, pistachio, black raspberry, pink, green, and purple. I like the colors next to each other and wonder what kind of impossible things I can draw about ice cream. Maybe melting rivers of it. And a man with a cone-shaped head sitting in a banana split dish rowing with a spoon. "Allie, are you listening?" "Oh, sorry," I mumble, pushing off the floor with my foot to spin on the padded stool. I just don't know what to say anymore. My mom's boss looks at her over his glasses. She drops to a whisper. "Just do your homework. We'll talk at home, and please, no spinning on that stool." "I'm sorry, I am. I really thought Mrs. Hall would like that card." "How could that be?" she says as she picks up a tray of ice cream and moves away. I pulled out a book and opened it, but the letters squiggle and dance. How are other people able to read letters that move? So instead, I stare at the steaming liquid dripping into a coffee pot and start thinking of steaming volcanoes and dinosaurs standing around drinking coffee, staring up at the giant meteor soaring through the air, commenting on how pretty it is. And I think about how lucky they were that they never had to go to school. I grab a napkin and begin a drawing of them for a sketchbook of impossible things. Soon my mom's brown and white checkered apron is in front of me. I look up. I swear it. I didn't know it was a card for dead people. "It's a sympathy card," she says, "and it's for the people that miss the person that has died, not for the dead." "Well, don't you think the dead person deserves a card more than anyone?" And she laughs. She leans her elbow on the counter and lifts her other arm to put her hand on her face. It's warm, and I'm so relieved that she isn't mad at me. "You're funny, you know that?" Then she pulls over the napkin with the dinosaurs holding coffee cups. "What's this?" "Just an idea I have for the sketchbook of impossible things." She stares at it. "Ah, your grandpa knew you were talented, and he'd be so proud of how hard you've been working on your art. And he would love that you named your sketchbook after Alice in Wonderland. He had such fun sharing that book with you." She looks up at me, just like he shared it with me when I was young. Alice in Wonderland, a book about living in a world where nothing makes sense, made perfect sense to me. "I miss Grandpa," I say. 3 words that hold sadness like a tree holds leaves. "Me too, sweetheart." I miss how he'd move from place to place with us whenever Dad got stationed somewhere new or deployed. It's weird to think that he doesn't know that we've moved again. She taps the end of my nose. "I don't know, sweetheart. I think he knows." Just then, voices I recognize come through the glass doors. It's Shay and Jessica. When I turn around, Shay says, "Well, look who's here. It's Allie Nickerson." They know my mom works here and have seen me here before, so I figure it isn't a coincidence that they're here. "Allie," Shay says, "you never came back to class. We were worried about you." What a joke that is. I turn back around while they whisper. Then Jessica asks, "Why don't you come sit with us?" Her voice reminds me of a pin hidden in a candy bar. My mom motions with her head that I should follow them. Go ahead, sweetheart. You can take a break. I give my mom the please just stop eyes while Shay mimics the word sweetheart in a baby voice. I guess my mom didn't hear because she whispers, New friends would be good, Allie. It wouldn't hurt you to at least give them a chance. Somebody comes to seat them, but Shay asks, Can we just sit at the counter? Great. Once they sit, there are 2 stools between them and me. My mom leans in and whispers, Why don't you move down and sit with them? They're reaching out, Allie. Reaching out with a bottle of poison. I think back to one of our apartments where the landlords kept llamas in their field. I love them, but Mom said they smelled. And I whispered back, It's more likely that you'd buy me my own pet llama than me sit with them. She half smiles. What shall we name the llama? I squint and shake my head. She makes that exasperated sound. So stubborn. Shay and Jessica stare at us like 2 cats watching a bird in a cage. My mom takes out her pad and walks over to them. Hello, girls. What can I get you? Jessica orders strawberry ice cream, but when Shay orders chocolate, Jessica tells my mom, Oh, that sounds good. I'll have chocolate instead. I roll my eyes. Typical Jessica. As soon as my mom's gone, Shay asks, So, Allie, I look over, why would you give Mrs. Hale that card? That's, really mean. Since there's no good answer to give, I stare at the page in my book. I'll ignore them. I've taken their teasing before. Jessica laughs. Has your mother always been a waitress? No, I blurt out. She used to be an astronaut. They break into laughter, and over near the kitchen, my mom smiles. She thinks I'm bonding with them. My father, Jessica begins, owns his own flower business, and he says, Shay interrupts, Allie, maybe you can be a waitress when you grow up, but can you read the flavors of the ice cream for me? I'm having trouble. She points up to the slow-turning cube hanging from the ceiling that lists the flavors on each side. The movement makes it even harder to read. I feel my face get hot. Oh no. Do they know I can't read? As they laugh, I remember how I had to read aloud last year when I first got here. I knew I shouldn't have, but some stupid voice in my head sometimes says, It'll be different this time and I'll try. And I always fail. That day, I read that macaroni can swim up to 20 miles an hour. It was supposed to be a manatee. The class laughed, of course, but so did the teacher. So I tried to pretend I had done it on purpose. I get up and walk behind them around the corner to the back room. I'm not supposed to be back there, but this is the only place they can't follow me. I step behind tall metal shelves with cans of pickles and ketchup and relish that are bigger than my head. Pushing my back hard against the wall, I see the words on everything that surrounds me. Boxes and cans and giant plastic bottles. Words. I can never get away from them. I think back to 2nd grade when my teacher wrote a whole lot of letters down and asked me what they said. I had no idea. But I was used to that. That spells your name. Allie. Allie Nickerson. Who knew a 2nd grader could understand what being humiliated feels like? Tears began to come, but I swallowed them down because I know I'll be found soon. I worry so much about them knowing my secret that my stomach feels like I've been kicked in the guts. Allie? My mom asks as she comes around the corner. Your friends have gone. What are you doing back here? I can't tell her. Thinking I have friends makes her so happy. Honey? I was checking the ingredients of ketchup. Her eyebrows bunch up. She knows something is up, but I walk past her before she asks another question. I walk back out into the restaurant, with her following, and sit next to Shay and Jessica's matching empty dishes. It feels like they should mean something, like maybe I'm an empty dish compared to everyone else. But mostly, those dishes just make me feel like the year will be the worst year I've had so far, and that's really saying something. Chapter 5. Silver Dollars and Wooden Nickels. The back door swings open and my brother Travis is there, smelling like grease, looking like he rolled in it, and I instantly feel better. How's my favorite little sister? I'm your only little sister. Doesn't matter. You'd still be my favorite, he smiles. So, your favorite big brother had a silver-dollar day today. I think of Grandpa and Dad, who always ask us if we were having a silver-dollar day or a wooden nickel one. Travis is doing that thing where he wiggles his fingers in the air and asks his daily question. What are these? He looks older, more like my dad, who's been deployed since just before Thanksgiving last year. It was hard to feel thankful after he'd gone, especially since Grandpa had died 3 months before that. The hand of a genius, I say? Correctamundo. Do you realize that you come home every day and ask me to compliment you? Not really, he says, opening the fridge, just asking you to state the facts. You are unbelievable. Exactly, he says, pointing at me. Guess what? I finished restoring an old Coke machine today. Things like 70 years old. He popped open a soda. Those things are worth a bundle fixed up. Then he holds up the can. Look at this. Disappointing compared to those old green bottles. Travis must be happy. The happier he is, the more he goes on about things. And, he says, I picked up an old gumball machine, the kind that takes pennies. I'll sell it for 10 times what I paid for it. His voice drops as he takes a sip. I will have to throw some money and elbow grease at it first, though. He comes over like he's going to mess up my hair, but I block his dirty hands. No way, I laugh. Don't touch me. Aw, come on, Al. I've had a great day, and guess what? I almost have enough to buy those rolling tool cabinets, and someday my big neon sign. He sweeps his hand through the air like he's showing me a row of mountains. Nickerson Restoration. My own place. My name, our name, is going to be in lights someday, Al. But then his voice deflates. I just have to get out of high school. We're like oil and water, school and me. I wish Mom would let me quit. She would kill you. Yeah, so would Dad. And being dead won't be good for any of my business. He smiles. Won't be long, though. I'm learning a ton of stuff at the garage. My boss is letting me do all kinds of different stuff. I smile. I'm going to buy a car soon, too. A classic. And a V6 at least. And then he's off, and I can still smell the grease after he's gone. I'm glad he had a silver-dollar day. When my mom finally gets home, I've already microwaved my dinner, and I'm watching TV while I sketch pictures of a pet llama named Butch Cassidy. With a name like that, I give him a cowboy hat, a bandana, and a holster. But in the holster, he carries an ear of corn. When my mom comes home from work, she turns off the TV, and I can feel it coming. So, she begins, when are we really going to talk about today? On my 95th birthday. Funny one. She shifts her weight. I'm trying to be patient, honey. I really am. But today was a party. How could you get into trouble at a party? I don't have to do anything. They all hate me, I blurt out. I doubt that. But can't you see why they're tired of your behavior? These shocking things you do and say to get laughs? She doesn't get it. Being funny when you don't mean to be is terrible. Having to laugh at yourself along with everyone else is humiliating. Oh, Allie, you're too smart for this. School is too important to joke about. I don't want you working long hours on your feet for a bunch of tips like me. I want more for you. And you're so smart, good at math, a gifted artist. Don't you think it's time to stop clowning around? I'm not smart. You say that, but it's not true. Now, we know that isn't true. You could stand to work a little harder, though. I'm so tired of this conversation. We've had it 100 times. Even though my third-grade teacher told her that I might just be slow, that my mom shouldn't expect too much of me, my mom's eyes got all wide and shiny when she heard that, and I felt sad and embarrassed for her having to be my mom. But my mother's never bought what the teacher said. I sometimes wish she would, but most times I'm grateful she hasn't. She bends over to look me dead in the eyes. I know that moving as much as we have has been hard for you. And I know I work all the time and I can't keep tabs on your schoolwork. It has made it hard for you to keep up with some subjects, and I understand that. I really do. But you're going to have to make more of an effort, Allie. Things worth having are worth working for. I'll do better, I tell her. I used to say this and mean it. Now it feels like I'm just making up one of my stories. Her smile is sad. Okay, then. She kisses the top of my head. Can I turn the TV back on now? She unties her apron and stares. Did you take your bath yet? No, I sigh. The tiredness in her voice says there's no use arguing. I trudge toward the hallway. By the way, I don't want to hear you say that people hate you, she calls out. How could anyone on earth possibly hate you? I wish she could understand my world, but it would be like trying to explain to a whale what it's like to live in the forest. Chapter 6. Triple-Sided Coin. Travis opens the door of the pawn shop in town and waves me in ahead of him. The bell on the door announces our arrival as it hits the glass. The dusty smell of the place triggers a bunch of memories. Good times, together times, when Dad and Grandpa would take Travis and me out looking for coins. Numbers and money are something Travis and I can do well, so we took to it fast. Grandpa loved the dustiest stores best because they were the ones that would have uncracked rolls of coins in the back of their safes. When the store owners would trade old rolls for new bills, we'd open them up to see what was inside. Sometimes we'd find a buffalo nickel, a Mercury dime, or an Indian head penny. It was a little bit of Christmas. Being there makes me ache to go back in time. The man behind the counter doesn't say hello. He rolls a toothpick back and forth in the front of his mouth with his tongue. In one way, it's completely impressive. In another way, the grossest thing I've ever seen. Travis rests his fingertips on the glass counter, looking down into the case filled with coins. You need something? The man doesn't talk the way Mom says you're supposed to talk to customers. I want to buy some coins, Travis says. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Travis brushes his chin with his knuckle. Something he does when he's nervous. The guy reaches up and takes the toothpick out of his mouth. He uses it to point at Travis. Do you have money, or are you all talk? Travis does what Dad never says never to do. He shows his money, but not money like a regular person. A roll of money wrapped in an elastic band. The guy's eyes widen, and then he asks, "Looking for something special?" "I want to buy Liberty coins. You got any?" He takes out several coins. One is a Mercury dime with a head that looks like it has wings for ears. "I remember those," I say. "Like the one Daddy has in his wallet." Travis turns them over in his hand. "Nice. Do you have anything more unusual?" The guy's eyebrows jump. Then he reaches into a drawer. "This is unusual, but it'll cost you big." I don't mind paying for something special." "Okay, then," he says. "This one is special." He puts a penny on the counter. Travis picks it up and his eyebrows bunch up. "This is smaller than other pennies." The guy nods. "It is a rare find." Travis glances at me and then turns toward the guy. "How much?" "Well," the guy says, "if you know anything about coins, you know what a coin with a flaw in it is far more valuable than a regular coin." "Something isn't right with it and it's worth more?" "Like I said," Travis said. "How much?" The guy tilts his head to the side. "Well, normally I'd ask for 80, but I'll charge you, say, 75. Travis smiles. Even I remember how Dad used to tell us never to smile when you get a number. Never. Even if it's the best number in the world. And here he is, smiling like he won the lottery. I tried to look serious enough for both of us. "Well, that's really generous of you. $75 for a penny that's been dipped in nitric acid." The guy's smile falls off his face. I bet the police would be interested in a little bit of fraud. Now listen, Travis interrupts. Look, I wasn't born yesterday. Stop messing with me. Travis points to a coin in the case that has a walking woman wrapped in a sheet with a sun's ray behind her. It's beautiful. That 1933 Walking Liberty $50. How much for that one? Well, that one's in really fine condition. In fact, just tell me how much, Travis says, leaning in, palms on the glass. 45. 36, and you throw in a Mercury Dime for my little sister. I look up quick. For me? Then I do the math. Yep, he's following Dad's rule of offering 20% less than what they offer you. But Travis threw in something extra. The guy squints. 40. Travis nods. Done. He slaps the money on the glass case. Outside the store, Travis holds the dime toward me. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it so much. Thank you, Travis. You're the best. He looks a little sad, staring at the coin. You know, Grandpa was born in 1933. That's why I chose these coins. They were both minted in that year. I look down at my Mercury Dime and its date, wishing people could last as long as coins. When we get into the car, Travis says, Do you see how that guy in there took me for a fool, trying to rip me off? Remember, Allie, when people have low expectations of you, you can sometimes use it to your advantage. Then he looks me right in the eye and points at my nose. As long as you don't have low expectations of yourself. You hear? I nod again. But I think to myself that it's hard not to these days.